Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, left slavery to help bring balance to the Force and to liberate all those enslaved to evil. However, the one thing he couldn't do was free himself from the chains of fate. Before we get into today's video, please leave a like, drop a comment, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell icon. With that being said, let's get into the video. Anakin's very first introduction reveals his psychological need to assert personhood, a symptom of dehumanization common in those raised in captivity. Tatooine slave culture normalized suffering. Watto didn't physically abuse Anakin, but enforced dominance through manipulation and unpredictability, classic components of complex trauma environments. His genius in mechanics and pod racing is not liberation, it's commodified talent, praised as utility but never as identity. Even the Jedi Council debates his future in utilitarian terms. His conception through the Force, without a father, as another existential chain. He exists not by natural agency, but for cosmic utility. In The Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn even refers to him as property through sympathetically showing how deeply systemic Anakin's condition is. The Chosen One narrative introduced via prophecy becomes a substitute master for Watto, chaining Anakin to a destiny he never chose. Childhood trauma studies such as those from the Adverse Childhood Experiences study show that children raised in volatile, powerless environments often internalize feelings of worthlessness, develop anxious, preoccupied attachment styles, and become self-obsessed with control later in life. In Legends, Darth Plagueis hints that Anakin's creation was a reaction to Plagueis Insidious's manipulation of the Force, suggesting Anakin was engineered, resulting in another layer of objectification. The Jedi Code replaced Watto's rules. Jedi doctrine demanded emotional suppression, conformity, and obedience. Anakin was treated as a liability from day one, a boy too old, too passionate, and too fearful. The Jedi Path Manual admits the Order's discomfort with the prophecy and emotion, often labeling deviation as dangerous rather than adaptive. Mace Windu never fully trusted Anakin, deepening his imposter syndrome and reinforcing the trauma-based belief he must prove himself worthy of love. The Jedi had difficulty managing Anakin's emotional intensity, labeling it as dangerous, but failed to treat the root of it, which was his trauma. The tragedy of Anakin is that he's a slave, first to Watto, then to the Jedi, then to the Emperor, and never to himself. The death of Anakin's mother Shmi is Anakin's irreversible fracture point. In Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, Issue 2, it shows that her loss echoes in his memory, a literal specter fueling his rage. Moving to the topic of Padme, insecurely attached individuals tend to form controlling, idealized relationships. Anakin dreams of her death and believes it to be inevitable unless he acts. His prophecy anxiety triggers what PTSD studies call future faking. While brotherly on the surface, Anakin feels Obi-Wan represents the system, a father figure who fails to understand him. In the Kenobi TV show, Obi-Wan acknowledges his guilt for not guiding Anakin emotionally. Anakin's obsession with control stems from the powerlessness as a child. His drive to end death itself is an extreme trauma reaction known as magical thinking, where trauma survivors believe they can alter reality through obsessive action. In Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, Issues 5 and 6, Vader slaughters Jedi survivors, not just out of duty, but to eradicate all witnesses to Anakin's failure, a performative domination meant to prove that he's no longer weak. Palpatine serves as the ultimate manipulator, weaponizing Anakin's fears, and Tarkin Sidious privately reflects that Vader is a broken thing, useful because he is in pain. Vader is not born, he is constructed as a tool. The transition from Jedi robes to Sith armor marks the final erasure of Anakin's identity. Palpatine chooses a suit that restricts mobility, keeps Vader in constant pain, and forces reliance on the Empire's tech. It's not just functional, it's punitive. In issue 6 of the Darth Vader 2015 comic, Palpatine mocks Vader for his suffering, reminding him that pain is what keeps him focused and useful. Color plays a role too. Even in Attack of the Clones, Anakin's darker attire reflects his isolation. The Jedi forbid external expressions of individuality, yet Anakin's rebellious clothing hints at his inner divide. Prison uniforms and strict military attire historically reinforce submission and loss of self-identity. Vader's suit is a psychological shackle as much as a life support system. Even Anakin's preferred lightsaber style was a reflection of his inner turmoil. Anakin preferred Gemso because it allowed him to channel emotion into power. This was a rebellion against Jedi detachment, but also a tether to pain. Anakin's Gemso is so aggressive and forceful, it mirrors his need to assert dominance over uncertainty. Vader's Form 5 is even more rigid, sacrificing mobility for overwhelming presence, not fast, but unstoppable. The Chosen One prophecy is a predestination trap. From the moment Qui-Gon believes Anakin is the fulfillment of prophecy, every Jedi decision treats him as a tool of fate rather than a person. His arc becomes less about agency and more about obligation. In Revenge of the Sith, Anakin's internal narration expresses deep fear that his life means nothing without promise. Palpatine exploits this when he says,
"Only through me can you achieve a power greater than any Jedi."
in the Jedi Path guidebook, the Council rarely spoke openly about the prophecy, but it believed that it would bring balance by destruction. Anakin's role was not liberation, it was sacrifice. He is a slave to fate, never able to choose his role. A tragic inversion of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey where the hero fails to return free. Complex PTSD includes distorted self-perception, emotional dysregulation, and chronic distrust. Black and white morality is seen in Anakin's behavior. He labels the Jedi as enemies once they threaten Padme's future. Using real-life parallels, child soldiers in Uganda or Sierra Leone, per UNICEF reports, often display similar trauma patterns: loyalty to abusers, disassociation, and struggle with reintegration. Like Anakin, they view violence as a source of agency. In the APA Journal of Traumatic Stress, it states, youth exposed to chronic coercive environments struggle to develop a coherent sense of self or trust in institutions. Anakin's loyalty to Palpatine stems from the fact that he offered the illusion of stability. The final irony is, his redemption was also enslaved. Anakin doesn't break his chains, Luke does it for him. Luke mirrors Qui-Gon, willing to trust, forgive, and love without expectation. By refusing to kill Vader, he shows that mercy is more powerful than control. In the Return of the Jedi novelization, Anakin sees himself in Luke and realizes he was never given the choice to be good until now. Anakin's final act is an emotional awakening, not freedom earned, but freedom gifted through empathy, a child freeing the father. Anakin Skywalker was never truly free. He was passed from one system of control to another, born a slave, reared as a weapon, and molded as an enforcer. His trauma was never healed, only redirected. His tragedy is not that he fell, it's that he was never given the tools to stand on his own. Star Wars is not a mythic space opera. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when systems ignore trauma, repress emotion, and prioritize order over healing. If you've made it this far into the video, thanks for staying around. And please don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, hit that subscribe button, and tap that bell icon. With that being said, I am out of here.